Welcome to a Recipe Reborn featuring your favorite foods from Final Fantasy XIV. Hello, my name is Lemon Drop, and today I am making Tempura, Platter, and Matcha. That's right, this week's episode is a 2-for-1 crafting combo. After 11 episodes, I realized I have been making a lot of raid food, so I wanted to switch it up a bit. I feel like tempura doesn't need an introduction, but if you're not familiar, it's basically Japanese-style battered, deep-fried seafood and vegetables. Matcha is a hot drink made exactly the way it is described in the game. A sophisticatedly bitter infusion prepared by whisking fine ground tea leaves into piping hot water. Even though I've had both of these many times at restaurants, this episode marks my first time making both at home. Starting with the dipping sauce, I'm combining all the ingredients in a small pot, bringing it to a gentle boil to dissolve the sugar, and then setting it aside to cool. For more info on how to make your own dashi, I put a link to the takoyaki episode at the top of the screen. To prepare the eggplant, I'm cutting it into quarters and then slicing each of those quarters thinly about 2/3 of the way through. This will help it cook faster. This is a lotus root which has a very distinct geometric pattern inside. I've peeled it and then cut it thin using a mandolin. Typically you would see shiitake mushrooms in tempura, but I couldn't find any fresh ones, so these are king oyster mushrooms. I'm gently scoring the tops of each one in a shallow V shape. Next, I'm straightening out the shrimp by lightly scoring the leg side of each one with my knife. A few cuts and a little bending should work. Lastly, I'm trimming the tails to get that distinct V shape. Batter sticks better to dry food, so I'm coating both the shrimp and the lotus with cornstarch. I've got my oil preheating and I'm ready to mix my batter. The oil I'm using is canola mixed with a little bit of sesame oil. Each time I add something to the oil, the temperature goes down, so it's helpful to use a thermometer to make sure things aren't getting too hot or too cold. Root vegetables take longer to cook, so I'm starting with those, about 3 to 4 minutes. The smaller ingredients take 1 to 2 minutes. I don't deep fry much at home because it seems like such a hassle, but it's actually not that bad. Things cook really quickly, and it's a fun way to cook watching the bubbles dance around. After I'm done frying each batch, I'm transferring them to a wire rack and keeping them in a low oven to stay warm. Now that everything is fried, I'm moving on to the matcha. I know this looks like it requires a lot of equipment, but if you're going to do this at home, all you need is matcha powder, a whisk, and a bowl. First, I'm heating my bowl and whisk with hot water, discarding the water, and then drying the bowl with a cotton cloth. Next, I'm sifting the matcha powder into the bowl to break up the lumps. The measuring cup is to make sure I'm using the right amount of water at the right temperature. After pouring in the water, I'm whisking it until a layer of small bubbles form into a foam on the surface. I think I need more practice to reach the restaurant level of technique here, but I think this was a really good result for my first try. I'm surprised how well deep frying brings out the flavors and textures of each food. Another surprise was how well the bitter flavor of the matcha balanced the sweet and salty flavors of the fried foods and dipping sauce. I think I will be deep frying a lot more in the future since getting over the first try nerves has boosted my confidence. For the full recipe and instructions, please check out the link to my website in the description below.